Okay, so some of you that are joining must be wondering, why is Nikki G sat dressed like a mermaid holding I Must Be a Mermaid book? I wonder why. We are going to be doing an interview and Charlene Hickey will be coming on any second. So until she comes on, we're just going to wait really patiently. Yeah, I've sent her the request. So how are you liking? Yes, sent request. Ah, there she is. Yay!
Hey!
Thank you so much for joining us. Mermaids, fellow mermaids.
Hey! Embracing the mermaid. I love it. I love your outfit.
Well, I had to embrace, you are the epitome of a mermaid with that colourful hair, your tattoos, you're so colourful. So I thought I could be here all shabby and grey. I had to kind of embrace the mermaid.
Excellent. I love your hair.
Thank you. I wish it was...
I'm going to change mine now to that colour.
Yeah, I think you definitely need mermaid hair. So your book, Charlene, was amazing. I couldn't have read it at the best time. I kind of expected it to be quite different, as in I was thinking I was reading a journey of somebody that was into swimming in the ocean and it was all going to be about the sea. And I think I remember getting to page 10 and thinking, oh, okay, this is what the book's going to do. And it took me on such a journey. I absolutely loved it. So first of all, just let us know a little bit about yourself. Like how you came to Jersey and what inspired you to write the book? Oh, Charlene's frozen on us. Hang on. Charlene is frozen. All right, we'll wait and see if Charlene comes back. So this is live. So I'm a little bit of a techie phobe, waving to people that are joining. Go live with Charlene. Where did she go? So,
Hello.
okay. She's back.
It disconnected for a moment there.
It totally disconnected. So I was actually talking to you and you went frozen and I thought, hang on a minute. Does she actually understand what I just asked her, or she just literally frozen out, but you're back?
Yeah, I think I just missed your question.
Okay. I think your screen has kind of frozen.
Is it?
Yeah.
It should be all right. I can see you fine.
Okay. Well, I can hear you perfect. And I think maybe the video may flow. Sometimes it's just on a live, it can glitch.
Okay.
So I obviously read the book and it was such an eye-opener and really inspired me in a time where life was going a little bit chaotic. So your book was brilliant for me. I just want you to let me know just a little bit about you and what made you feel like you wanted to share your story.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I never set out to write a book. Like, it's not something I ever thought about doing. I've always been an artist, so I didn't even really used to write that much. But I did start a blog quite a few years ago. I'd been on sort of quite a spiritual journey myself, and I'd been traveling and like living quite nomadically, and I started having some quite extraordinary experiences, and I was kind of learning a lot of big life lessons, and something in me kind of just wanted to share that a little bit. So I started a blog just for a short time, just kind of put a few random stories out there, and got quite good feedback from it. And then I just kind of left that, kind of forgot about it. And then later on, like a few years later, I started doing some massage for, like healing massage for women, just for a short time. And then more recently, I started tattooing. And I kind of just found that constantly, like, I was dealing with women, and because most of my clients were women, and we would always talk very intimately about things, like as you do, you know, with your hairdresser or your tattoo artist. And I'm always like big into sharing, so I would you know, always make my clients feel really comfortable by sharing stuff about me. And they would really open up and share really intimate things with me. And I started to just see this real theme of like things that women were worried about and ashamed of, and secrets they had, and they kind of were just all the same sorts of things, you know, and lots of them I had gone through myself in various like versions.
Yeah.
So I found, you know, my heart was like going out to them, and I was trying to kind of console them as much as I could with my own kind of stories. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll try and put this into one place, you know, so maybe I'll write a book. And thinking it would be really easy, which it wasn't. But the thing was, I just really wanted to feel like, I wanted to make women feel like they were less alone in what they were going through, and that it was normal, all those things that they were experiencing. So yeah, it was really, the main purpose of it was to just help people feel a bit better. You know, just the compassionate part of me just wanted to do something to help, I suppose.
Yeah. And on like a core level, I think many women go through similar things. We all have insecurities, no matter what they're about. So I think women can actually really, really connect with other women.
Yeah, totally. I think if they feel safe, which I think women do feel safe with me, because I sort of open up, and I'm so non-judgmental, you know, like so open-minded about everything. So if they feel safe, I think if we open up to each other, it can be so healing, you know, because you feel understood by another woman.
You do, definitely. I got a lot from your book reading it at quite a low point for me, massive life change. And yeah, I got a lot from it, because it was almost, you've had some hard points in your journey, you've had some really hard experiences, but there's something about, you had some grit of get up and get on with it, you know, sit with your gut, feel what's right for you, and just go for it, regardless of what anyone else says. Like, you just really followed your gut throughout the whole book, throughout your journey of life, which I found really inspiring.
Yeah, that's what I always come back to, you know, and I think that's what, if there's anything I can get across, it's, you know, I think you know what you need to do. I think you always know. And it's just that we don't really tend to listen to that. And it's like, I tend not to ask for other people's advice on things. Not because I don't value it, but I just think only I know what I need right now, and only I know not what I need to do. And all the time that I can deny that, it's just, I'm not gonna be satisfied, you know.
Yeah. And it's listening within, isn't it? It's actually, you know, trusting that we've got all the answers within ourselves, which often people don't give themselves credit to actually know what they need to do. Yeah, there's too much reaching out quite often.
I think people sort of say, oh, I don't know what to do, like you do, but I don't. And I think it's about getting really quiet with yourself and getting back to some sort of form of alignment, you know, in yourself, and then you do get the answers, and it is clear. And then it's up to you if you act on it or not. That's a whole other thing, you know. Then you got to act on it, haven't you? And usually the answers you get are things that you don't really want to act on. So
yes. I really got that in your book, actually, when you were at, you know, a big pivotal change in your life, like maybe a breakup or, you know, a new job, or something had ended. You quite often did take yourself off. You reconnected with nature. You got in tune with the moon. You got into like a ritual space. And that was really nice. It kind of reminded me of stop burying your head in a bottle of port and, you know, numbing yourself. Just actually get into nature and get into those things that actually help you listen to yourself. So that really came across in the book. You've done that a lot in your life, I guess.
Oh, so much. And I just do it all the time. You know, it's the only way you can get that clarity. Like, life is so busy. You know, life is so busy now, and we have so much going on, and we have 5 million distractions. And, you know, the only way to get any kind of clarity on things or any kind of guidance is to just get back to nature, isn't it? It's the only way. You know, just getting still and just listening. Like, people say to me, you know, all the time, like, oh, you talk about meditation and how do you do it? And I find it too hard. I'm like, I don't even meditate, you know. I just stop, just literally sit and just listen. And I just say out loud, I'm listening. you know, and whatever comes. And even if my mind is still buzzing and I'm still thinking about a million things, it doesn't matter, you know, just taking that time to just stop. Like, it will come, and it might come later on in the day, later in the week, you know, whatever, but it's just asking in the first place and just being still on a regular basis, I guess.
Yeah, it's stopping and giving yourself space, isn't it? Definitely, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, obviously the book, you know, has travel journey and relationship journey. Well, was there like a real pivotal point in the book that you shared that actually was quite life-changing for you, that maybe got you a little bit onto the right path of self-acceptance, of going in the right direction?
Yeah, I reckon I have to say there's a few sort of, like in all our lives, I think there's a few main points, pivotal times where, you know, life changes direction or something has to change. And I suppose there was a few, you know, losing a parent quite young, that was one, and moving from London to the island, that was a massive big change that I kind of really just turned around, you know, did full turn and thought, I need to do life differently. But I would say that the biggest probably pivot in my life was admitting that I had an eating disorder, because I had bulimia for quite a few years, and it's a weird one, bulimia, because it is so secretive. You know, anorexia, you see when someone's anorexic, you know, you see that they're obviously unwell and it gets spoken about, but there's something about bulimia which is so private and you can hide it. And I don't think I even thought I was doing it. Like, I knew that I had problems with food, always had done. I knew I had problems with my body image, but I don't think I really thought I was that person with that eating disorder. You know, I never really fully admitted it. Didn't tell anyone. And then it just got to a point, like a breaking point, when I just couldn't sort of take it anymore. Something had to give, and I kind of said it out loud to someone, and it sort of took me back. Really, I think that was the real moment I realised this is a real problem. You know, like what is actually going on here, and it's an addiction. So I think I was kind of not giving it enough weight. I was thinking, oh, it's fine, like, you know, people do it all the time and I'll stop soon. But actually it's a major addiction and it should be treated in the same way. So admitting that to myself was, I think, a massive turning point. And that's when I knew things like had to change. And you know, why am I doing this? What's the deeper reason? Not just wanting to be skinny or whatever, you know, it's like, what's really going on?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I think that was the main turning point.
Yeah, and I think with any turning point, or with any you know, recognizing yourself or finding that self-realization, is actually just acceptance. The warts, yeah. You know, the dark shadow sides of ourselves. It's actually accepting parts of ourselves that need work. So yeah.
I think we sort of don't realize that we're just not accepting some things. You know, it's just hard, it's painful, and we resist it, you know. So yeah, that acceptance is like half of it.
Yeah,
it's like the beginning of the journey.
Well, yeah, and it's the hardest part of the journey as well, isn't it? Because you've really got to face every facet, every side of yourself. It's really, it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage to get to that point. So yeah, I totally applaud you for that and for sharing that part of your story, because that was really quite raw to share that. You know, quite often we hide those bits of ourselves that we don't like, don't we? So yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about those ugly bits, you know. It's hard to write about, because it's just like, you just want to tuck it away. And like, I'm okay to talk about the other things. I'll talk about my boyfriends and that, but I won't talk about this bit. But actually, you know, like I was kind of in a bit of a battle for a while when I was writing the book as to how personal to go, and I found myself cutting bits out, and I thought, what is the point? Like, I'm writing this book because I want to make other women feel completely unashamed of anything they have done or are doing. I want them to, you know, embrace it all. And here I am wanting to edit my own story. And I just thought, there's no point in even writing this book if that's what I'm going to do. I just thought, I'll just stop now because that's pointless. So that's why I decided to just put it all in there. Just go for it. And that's why people relate to it.
Oh, 100%. And I think because you give yourself that permission in the book, it almost gives the reader the permission to, you know, outwardly look at themselves and, you know, accept part of themselves. Because if you're brave enough to do it, you give other people that same permission to have courage.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I used to find from books I read. You know, you're kind of looking for that permission, like, oh God, they did it too, that's fine, it's all right then, you know. And I wanted to do that for other women. I wanted to do that and say, it's okay, you know, you can be like this, you can do this.
Yeah, and we all hold space for each other, and I really felt that with the book. I felt like I was holding space for you, and whatever I was going through at the time when I was reading the book, you kind of holding space for me as well. Like that permission was there. It's really nice. So throughout your experiences, and obviously all the sharings that you've given in the book, very candid experiences, what is the underlying message that you really wanted to shine through for all those readers, all those women and readers, men maybe? Mermen. I'm sure there's mermen out there that might read it.
I think, loads. Where are you? I think really what I always come back to in my life, and the thing I feel most passionately about, the way that I live, is to just make up your own rules, you know, like for your life. We are all so different. We all have such different needs and desires and ambitions, and you know, I'm not talking about breaking the law or anything, you know, like, but there's these kind of unspoken rules in all of our societies, and, you know, we're trying to fit certain roles. And I just really I wanted to urge people, and especially women, to question what kind of rules they were living by. And I very much feel that life is not black and white, you know, like I just have never seen life in a black and white way. I just think it's just all grey area and like it's all up for review. And it's, I guess I've never really wanted to do things the way everyone else does them, and or at least question if I can do things differently. And it's like there's so many. Again, when I speak to so many women, they sort of, if I say, you know, what do you really want? Like, what is it you love? What makes you tick? And it's always the same thing. It's always like, oh, but I can't, and I shouldn't, and I couldn't, and I couldn't possibly, or, and it's like, yeah, but what if you did? And so I like to sort of, in my own life, ask myself, what is it I really want? What is it I'm really yearning for? And then when I work that out, and in my mind I say, oh, I can't do that, I like to go, well, what if you did? You know, what if? Yeah. What if you actually just did that thing, that one thing? And I believe in really pushing those boundaries in yourself. And I truly believe that magic lives in those areas of those things you think you shouldn't do. You know, there's parts of my book where I've explored certain things, and they're quite controversial. For me, it was to just go into that place where I shouldn't go, you know, and that's where I think that's where things open up. That's whenever I've done something like that, whenever I've gone and done something like I wanted to go traveling again, and I basically only had enough money for the flight and whatever, and I can't go, I haven't got money, and I was like, what if I just go? What if I just go and then just work it out? You know, and I love that. And that's where I really kind of come to life, in that place where you do that thing you're not supposed to do. And it's not necessarily about being rebellious or doing something naughty. It's just that thing you think you can't do or shouldn't do. And that is where I think the magic comes out, and all the things inside of you that have been wanting to come out can come alive. So for me, my book is kind of trying to hint towards being curious about that, and questioning those things you've always wanted to do or say or whatever, and going there and just doing it.
Yeah. We can live quite closed lives, can't we, if we just follow society's rules, you know?
Yeah.
society has a lot of rules depending what your culture is, and I think if we just stay within those boundaries, there's not really much room for growth. So the fact that you push so many boundaries, you know, there's a real sense of growth, because you find out what your fears are, you know, you find out what makes you thrive. You know, there's so much to explore within getting out of your comfort zone. You know, it is said, if you live your life in the circle, you're never going to grow. But if you make that circle just a little bit bigger, you're going to step from this comfort zone a little bit. You're going to keep stretching yourself, and that's when you can really step into that best version of yourself. So yeah. Again, I really applaud you for kind of getting that through the book, because that's what I got through the book too. Let go of some of the rules.
And it's scary. Like, it's not that, again, sometimes people say, oh, but you're so, you know, you can just do it. And I'm like, I get scared. I'm so scared when I do those things. But I just think about what's going to come out of it, you know, and it always feels amazing when you do those things.
Yeah. So I'd like to say, in between the black and the white, it's not grey. It's actually multicolored. It's actually mermaid colour. Let's let go of the grey, because there's so much multicolored dimensional aliveness that you can bring into your life if you just let go of some of the rules and trust your own instincts, I suppose, you know, or, you know, push them a little bit. So, okay, so I wanted to ask you two last things. From sharing your story quite candidly, what's the worst thing that could have happened for you? What's the worst thing that could have happened if you actually getting your journey, and some of it like quite like it takes a lot to shock me, Charlene, I must admit. Like, I've lived a colourful life and it takes quite a lot to shock me, but there were a couple of things that was like, wow, she wrote that, that's amazing. Like, yeah, so what's, obviously I've read it and I loved it, but what's the worst thing that could have happened by you really getting your story out there and people perceiving it in the way that would have been the worst possible way?
I was quite concerned, and I was quite up and down when I was writing it, and sometimes I just wanted to give up and thought, I can't do this, because I, again, wanted it to be so honest, but there are some controversial things in there, and I really didn't want it to be misunderstood. I didn't want people to just think I was just sort of wanted to write this dramatic story, or I don't know, showing off or whatever. I wanted to really explain my feelings, how I felt and how it made me feel to do the things I'd done. Like I was just saying about feeling that magic, feeling like I was opening up. But I was concerned people would make judgment or take it the wrong way or say, you know, it wasn't necessary. But I so wanted to do it in order to, like we say, give women permission, you know, to do those things. I found that they say that you should write the book that you've always wanted to read. Like, if you're going to write a book, you should try and write the book that you've been looking for, you know. And I found I was always kind of going between sort of two types of books generally, and one was super spiritual, very, very deep, because I kind of need that real deepness in spirituality. And I was reading about people's journeys, that they'd been on these journeys of awakening and all kinds of things, and I'd just devour them. And then on the other hand, I would be reading about women who lived in the shadows, you know, and who delved into the underworld and who kind of took the dark path, because I was so fascinated by that, so fascinated by what that allows a woman to feel and do. And I kind of was always hoping that there would be, and there are some, of course, but I didn't find many books where I felt like both were living together, where, you know, people were exploring the light and the dark and it coinciding. I always found it was kind of a theme of either good girl gone bad or bad girl gone good, you know. And I was like, but I'm both, you know, like I want to be both. And as we, you know, we all talk about a lot now, you know, life as a whole is the dark and the light, and embracing it all. That's nature. That's the essence of nature, is, you know, destruction and construction and dark and light. And and we all talk about working, you know, healing our shadows, doing shadow work. But I was kind of struggling to find it all in one place and in a modern day story. So I wanted to talk about, and this is going back as well to, you know, the things I was slightly concerned about people taking the wrong way. I wanted to show how I was delving into those really dark places, but it was so sacred as well and spiritual, and that it could all live side by side, you know, and I didn't have to stop doing one of them, or, you know, and that's how I lived my life. And I've never felt so whole, and I've never felt so at peace doing that. And so I want to encourage more women to do that and embrace their dark side, and, you know, just live in it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, if we're making up our own rules, you know, letting go of what society says we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, if we make up our own rules and we're okay with that, why can't you have both sides? You know, it's you know, our lives have limitless possibilities of being who we want to be and being authentic in that. So yeah, I mean, I very much doubt you'll be judged at all. So I think your worst fears won't come to fruition. I think because you show such a vulnerable, raw side of yourself, quite often human nature is not to judge that, unless, you know, the mind is not open enough to accept that that's part of who you are and just, you know, appreciating it. So what's the best thing that can come from any woman or any person reading your book? What's the best thing that can come from that for you?
Oh, you know, and it's already come true, really, because I've had so many amazing reviews, and I get lovely letters written to me out of the blue, you know, emails and Instagram messages from people who have read the book, and I don't even know how they found out about it or anything. And they all kind of say the same thing, which is what I wanted, in that they feel comforted, you know, just to know that there's someone out there who feels the same or going through the same things. Some like permission, you know, permission to just go out there and do what you want to do, and less shame. Like, oh, I hate shame. It's just the worst thing. It's such a, like, it's deep in women, you know. It's still very present in women from, you know, centuries of shame. And I just want to do anything to help women feel less shameful about anything they feel or have been through. And really, and a big part of the book is about finding your center, you know, through self-love and through connecting to something that you believe in that's bigger than us, whatever that is. Maybe it's just nature. Finding that center and that grounding, so that everything else is kind of a bonus, you know. Every person, every relationship, every job or whatever is all a bonus to that, and that whatever happens in your life, you've got that center that you can come back to. And I think when you feel that, you just feel like you can handle anything. And I just want to try and urge anyone to find some way to find that center. And everything I do kind of comes back to freedom. The feeling of freedom. I mean, you can, you know, it doesn't mean you have to be traveling or, you know, single or whatever. You know, freedom is a feeling as well as an actual physical thing. And if you can do whatever you need to do in your life to feel free, I think you can find that center, and then you can cope with anything. But that, it kind of all comes back to that. It's that freedom, for sure.
Definitely. Well, the best thing about the book for me was actually really empowered me to move into a new, more voluptuous, feminine me, and actually to have the permission to do that. And also, I would love to go traveling again, and perhaps do it the way that you did it, actually not have so many structured rules of safety that I need within myself. Just book a ticket and go and just see where intuition flows for me. Like when I'm older, you know, maybe I'm in my 70s and I've got purple hair like this, And in fact, I might just travel and just wear a wig the whole time, just travel like a mermaid. But you know, it's like your book gives me that permission to just empower the femininity in myself that I probably have run away from for the last 3 decades. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This book came to me at the most precious time in my life, where I had a massive shift in how I was living it. And I know it can do that for many other people out there. So it's been amazing sharing your journey and being part of your journey. And yeah, kind of looking at my journey and thinking, it's not been as colourful as I thought it was, actually. I think I'm a bit boring. I think I might move to London and do something that you once did in the book. But you'll have to read the book to find out what Charlene got up to in her life. And you know, it's just really about personal growth and a personal journey and just embracing every facet of yourself. So I absolutely loved your book, Charlene. It was just came to me at the best time ever.
Thank you so much. And you know, it's interesting, like what you just said. You know, writing the book was really hard. Not only, you know, emotionally, but just physically. Like, it's so hard to write a book, and takes so much discipline and commitment. And so often I would be questioning what I was writing, and I'd think, and my first book as well, so I didn't know if anyone was going to like it or if I was any good at it. And I often used to think, oh, this is just rubbish. Like, what is this I'm even writing? You know, is anyone going to get what I'm saying? But it was interesting what you said about how you kind of just felt something through the book. Like, somehow you felt like it gave you, you know, more confidence and permission. And I do believe that when you put all of your heart into a book or anything like art, I did sort of trust in myself, that I kept thinking, I think the energy between the lines is going to come through. You know, I kept thinking, even if I don't ever find the perfect words, I don't ever sort of write exactly what I'm really trying to write, I think people will feel it. And yes. I really, really strong sense that there were messages in it that women needed to hear. I'm not trying to sound like Messiah or something. But like, just, you know, I just felt like there was messages between the words that you would feel. And that I got a strong sense of that. So that's great to hear you said what you said.
Yeah, definitely, because actually on you know, it's not, you don't start reading it and think this is a self-help book. It's like you're a fly on the wall looking in somebody else's life, and you're like, oh wow, you know. And then I did get to the end of a chapter, and I was like, but what's going to happen next? What's going to happen? And I'd have to read a bit more into the next chapter to find out whether you managed traveling when you had your like $1, and you know, or like the guy, you know. I had to read on a little bit more to find out, but it didn't feel like a self-help book when I was reading. But through the lines of it, it had this flavor that when I started to get to the end, it's like, like this is a self-help book. It's through a journey of a story. So it's very subtle actually how you wrote it, but it definitely comes through in between the lines, the energy of what you're portraying and what you're sharing. So I just think it's amazing. I think all women should read that, especially if they're feeling a bit stuck in life. They're doing something, they're thinking, what am I doing? They're just going along with what society is saying that they should be doing. Break free of it. Read Charlene's book, because it might give you the permission to do that. This book is actually being sold now in the shop of the Rising Signs. It's £12.50. If you're in Jersey, we deliver it free. If you're in the UK, Europe, you know, whoever touches base with this, then you just pay the postage on top of the book. I just think you'll really enjoy it. And it's a book that I think women would buy women for Christmas and birthdays. So I look forward to sharing this with some of my friends for sure. I've got one actually already that keeps pinging me, have you finished with the book yet? Because she's dying to read it. She's just a bit stuck, you know. And analysing every part of her life. It's like, just let go of it. God, you just need to read I Am a Mermaid. I must be a mermaid. So yeah, I love it. So we'll wrap up now. So thank you so much, Charlene, for giving us your time. I do believe there's another book in the pipeline, and I'm really looking forward to reading your next book, because I just think the way that you write is simple, but it really reaches out and really gives the energy of just accepting yourself and loving yourself. I really love that.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. So for the rising signs, people, our tribe that are out there, I've written a review on the book, which will be linked through. It's on the website. And obviously in the shop, we have the book for you to purchase. So I really just encourage people to get into it and just start to love yourself, raise your vibration and get on that personal growth journey. It's an amazing journey to be on. Okay. Lots of love, blessings and gratitude for joining us. Thanks, Charlene. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.